So we're at 13 days now. 13 days, less than 2 weeks. We're very close. And I'm kind of tired. I apologize for that. But I did want to discuss why I rate MGS2 as the worst of the main Metal Gear Solid uh, franchise games. And I want to start off by saying that I still think it's a 10, especially on its initial playthrough. Like if you play it the first time, it's mind-bogglingly good. Like it's really, really, really well done. But the reason I rate it so low in comparison to the other Metal Gears is because I think it doesn't lend itself to be played more than once or twice. And spoilers, of course. But if you beat the game once, the ending will blow your mind, and the whole game will shatter what you think is reality. And then you can play it a second time to kind of play it knowing what the ending's going to be and kind of like see things in a different light. But when you play it the third time, it's really tedious. Like once you get past the snake part of the game, once you get off the tanker, it's snooze fest. It's horrible. Like I don't find the story of Jack and Rose to be that entertaining. I think the payoff is incredible. The first and the second time you play it, I think, like I said, it's a 10. But when you get to the third or the fourth playthrough, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to sit there and listen to them jabber on and on about when their first date was and the movies they watched, and like that entire drama just isn't worth it because I already know the payoff. I already know the mind fuck at the end, and it's not. It doesn't hold up. There's a big chunk of that game when Jack is just being whiny that doesn't hold up. And Metal Gear Solid 4, Metal Gear Solid 3, all the other ones, they hold up. You can play them two, three, four times, maybe even more, and it's fine. Like the cutscenes, you know what happens, but they're still really well done, and it doesn't bother you. It's not boring. It's not tedious. It's not whiny like MGS2 is. Like MGS2 is just a lot of whining. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. That's the whole game. And even without that, like even the gameplay in itself is tedious as fuck. Like it's just find all the bombs and use the coolant spray. Like that's fucking boring. And when you have to go into that one room and use the microphone to find who the right guy is, that's fucking boring. It's boring as shit. It didn't age well. It ages well in the sense of if you've never played it, then yeah, it's one of the best games ever. It's a 10, like I said, it's a 10. I'm not going to say it's not a 10, it's a 10. If the first playthrough, even the second playthrough, amazing. But I think it doesn't loan itself to multiple playthroughs. I think Metal Gear Solid 4 does, definitely, because it's interesting. Like there's depth, and the boss battles are well done. So like it doesn't even matter if you know the story. The boss battles are still entertaining. Metal Gear Solid 2 has some really weak boss battles. Like it's really weak. Um, it's boring. It's not that great. It's good the first time, and the second time it's excellent. The first time it's like I said, it's mind-boggling. But once that huge twist at the end, and once the fourth wall is broken, once you already know what's going to happen, then it's not worth it. It's worth it the first time. The first time the payoff is extraordinary, and it messes with your brain, and it's incredible. But multiple playthroughs is just not worth it. MGS3 is because the gameplay's solid and it never gets boring, you know. But MGS2 just gets boring. Some of that shit is just dumb. Disarming all the bombs is dumb, in my opinion. Obviously, it's just my opinion. And another thing is, I don't like the big shell. Like, I don't like it. Like, maybe when you're doing the skateboard things or when it'll look like Mother Base, maybe then. But when you're just going around it and there's guards everywhere, it looks like shit. And it feels like shit. Like, it doesn't. It's not like MGS3 that has a huge open environments, or it's not as iconic as Shadow Moses. And Metal Gear Solid 1 has great boss battles, you know, but MGS2, like, off the top of my head, I can't even think of good boss battles in that game. Fat Man sucked. Fortune pretty much sucked. Vamp sucked. When you have to snipe for Emma, that sucked. And then, like, even Emma dying, like, that sucked. Like, she was there for, like, one game, and she was Otacon's sister. One game. Wasn't that great? Naomi dying in 4 had a much bigger impact. Again, spoilers. Like, why are you watching this if you haven't already played all the games? Spoilers. um, Even Sniper Wolf's death in MGS1 was better because the character was more fleshed out. You know, like Emma, like who gives a shit? I don't. I mean, like yeah, first playthrough sure, second playthrough sure, third playthrough I just don't care anymore. So yeah, that's my gripe with MGS2. I think it's fantastic the first time and the second time around, and everybody that says it's fantastic probably only played it once or twice. And I agree that it's amazing the first time. It is. It's one of the best, if not the best, on first playthrough. Yeah, on first playthrough, I would probably say it's the best one on first playthrough. But if you play the games multiple times, it's the worst. It's the worst. It has that one thing going for it, which is the amazing ending, and then a bunch of shit to get to it. Just a bunch of shit. Like I can't even tell you most of that game. I can tell you the ending. I can tell you the ending was fantastic. But I can't tell you the lead in to the ending. I could tell you every single one of the boss battles in MGS4. I could tell you every single one of the boss battles in MGS3 because they're all memorable and great. And like even Ground Zeroes, like it's open world, so the gameplay is really solid. You know what I mean? No pun intended. But the gameplay is amazing in Ground Zeroes. You can approach it from any angle you want. When it gets Solid 2 just doesn't lend itself to that. And it's not even necessarily. No, yeah, it's a fault on writing. The writing character is boring to me. He's boring. I love playing a Snake in the Tanker. It's better than playing his fucking writing. But yeah, that's my view on it, and maybe it'll change when I beat MGS2 again. I will be beating it again. But from what I remember, the times I've played it and the times I've tried to replay it, it just doesn't seem worth it. That's why it's the last on my list. I still think it's a 10 because of the initial reaction to first playthrough and all that. But I don't think it lends itself to multiple playthroughs. I think the Big Shell just looks really bland, and I feel like it's just really boring to me. Like I can't remember any of the boss battles other than like when you fight all the Metal Gears. I remember that. That was pretty cool. Other than that, I can't. I don't even. No, I can't remember any of the boss battles in MGS2. Can't remember 'em. I remember a lot of relationship and a lot of mindfuck at the end. That's it. And the fucking coolant spray and the fucking microphone. That shit is stupid. Like it doesn't flow well. So yeah, that's how I feel about MGS2. I still think it's a 10. I still think it's a classic because of the reaction it causes after the first playthrough. But I think that once the first playthrough and the initial mindfuck is gone, that there's really nothing there. So it's an excellent game. It's still a 10. Kojima was, you know, he was genius for coming up with that. But like the gameplay and the repetitiveness of the romance story and not having any strong bosses that I can think of off the top of my head, like that weren't in the tanker. Like I think Olga's the most recognizable one. That was a great boss battle, but that was Snake. You know, like you could do that really early. So yeah, that's how I feel about MGS2 in comparison to the other MGSs. Now with that said, it's still better than 90% of the video games out there. V for victory. 13 more days.